Well, thank you so much, Dave Porter, for taking time to talk to me today. I do appreciate it.
My
I
pleasure, Nick. Great to meet you.
I am so curious as to what was it like for you and to dive into this new musical world, but with someone you've worked with for so long, in the case of Vince Gilligan.
Yeah, that was the big trick to this one, wasn't it? I mean, it's hard to imagine, but Vince and I and so many of our team have been together for nearly 2 decades now. But if you think about it, going back to all the stuff we've done, this is the first time since the pilot episode of Breaking Bad, which was about 2006 for me, where we're starting totally fresh, totally new. There's nothing about this show that relates to any of the other work we had done. So a chance to really rethink all of it. Think about what we've done in the past and what we loved about that and what worked. But at the same time, in creating a whole new universe, what opportunities did we have to plant our flag and say, we're doing something really different this time?
And it is very different. I think for folks who have come to know your music through Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, like they're going to be very, very surprised by the very choral and experimental almost aspects of this score. Like, what were sort of the ideas that were floated you by Vince when you started working on this project for Pluribus?
Well, I think early on, really just the mandate to myself and probably all the other creative contributors was that we just really wanted it to be different. You know, what haven't we done? What were we precluded from doing in the other shows for whatever reason, creative or otherwise? Or what did we always want to try that we'd never had the right opportunity to do? And what makes Pluribus different from those other shows? And there are, of course, many things. The sci-fi nature of it, the backbone of it, the fact that we're working with a much more obvious hero here, although she's a complicated one that's not
Yeah.
easy to love, right? And of course, at the same time, what are all the hallmarks of what we have done in the past and are what's so brilliant about Vince's creations that we wouldn't want to lose. And so that there's some DNA, hopefully, that is immediately obvious, even though we're doing something very different here. And so the voices and the orchestra were just in part ways to plant our flag and say we're doing something very different. And so you immediately know that it's a different show. But also there are, of course, creative reasons for all those things. We're in this sci-fi world where we have an opportunity and maybe even an obligation in terms of the music to help with that suspension of disbelief and that crazy otherworldly scenario that we're creating. And the voices, to me, they're just such an embodiment of what is human, right? And it's at its core. That's one of the basic questions we're asking here. What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be an individual human? And what does it mean to be humans collectively?
And I feel like it's the final track on the album collection that's been released through Milan, A Carol for Carol, that really like I was like, oh, I get it. Like saw that title and heard it and I was like, ah, was that like the intent to sort of like the voices are sort of nodding to our main character's name, or is that just something that came about naturally when it's like, well, we've got this choir, we have Carol, we have to make.
Yeah, no, I mean, my titles, first of all, when I'm writing for the show, I'm never thinking about names for these pieces. They're literally they have a number designation as I'm working on them. There's nothing, so it's not until things make it to the soundtrack that I have to start thinking of names. So the name definitely came later, but and I'm glad you noticed it. I was delighted in a way that this first release of the music from Pluribus went through episode 4 because I used that piece as the end credits for episode 4, and it is the last piece from this grouping. And I do think as I found my way working on the show, that piece was one of the pieces that I wrote and thought, I've learned a lot from the writing of this piece, and there's a lot about this piece that works. There's a lot about it that's resonant for the show and works so well. And of course, the choral aspect of it is huge. We're playing with single voices and groups of voices that are purposefully not saying words that you would recognize, but just utterances and consonants and vowels on purpose, because I'm trying to show that in my own way. I think what the show is trying to say, in one of the many things the show is trying to say, about how there isn't this black and white delineation between Carol and the others as one being great or one being horrible, right? There's a lot of gray area in Carol for sure, and there's a lot that's shockingly seductive and interesting about the others. True, right? And we relish that and we love that on the show, and we really want people to think about those things.
And it ties in so nicely with the tracks which play over the end credits, which are usually, foreign language interpretations of songs that we, the viewers, know, but might not recognize right away because they are in a different language. And I'm curious as to how closely you worked with the music supervisor with these sort of like end credit needle drops.
Yeah, glad you noticed those, and they are fantastic. Thomas Golovich, our longtime music supervisor, is the champion of that idea, along with Vince, and they've been working on that for a long time, and commissioning some of those pieces, and they're fantastic. And they're great because, for all the reasons you pointed out, they are something that we're always thinking about on the show, which is what is uniquely familiar to us and at the same time totally strange, right? And those pieces are perfectly that for an American audience or a Western audience, right? But the whole point of the show, of course, is that it is global, and we are uniting all of us as humans in thinking about what this would be like and what it is that connects all of us, no matter where we're from or what language we speak. And again, what our differences are. But that there is a lot of commonality that we forget about, I think, honestly, as humans. And so everybody can love a Doors song and everybody can instantly know a Doors song, right? Even if it's in a different language. But it might make you think about how you feel about it in a slightly different way, or give new thought to something that you thought you already understood.
I mean, my favorite version of the Eagles Hotel California is the Gypsy Kings version, so I
There you
completely
go.
agree with all of that.
There you go. Yeah.
Now, as this series has released, it has generated so much discussion online. It went viral for advertising purposes, regarding some screens on a refrigerator. But like, how is it for you to be a part of something that is so much in the zeitgeist and being discussed by so many people? Like, in addition to this, I mean, you have been part of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and The Blacklist and Preacher, and it
Yeah.
just feels like you have a very, I feel like you would have a very interesting perspective on like audience response, and how that is, given how much
It's
there
been a
is of
wild
it.
ride for sure here on Pluribus, and I think more so on this even than on some of the others, because first of all, you never take these things for granted. I mean, you just don't know how many experiences like you're going to have like this in an entertainment career, as I've been lucky enough to have, as you pointed out, several of these shows that really become part of the popular culture of the moment, and it's fleeting, and it's amazing, and it's wild. I tell a story often about how we had a screening a simulcast, basically, of the final episode of Breaking Bad here in Hollywood, outside the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. And the cast and crew were there to watch it live, along with a whole bunch of lucky fans that got it. And I remember sitting there, Aaron Paul's behind me, and we're having drinking and having a great time, and we're so excited about showing it to the world, and sad that it's over. And I remember thinking, this is a long time ago now. I thought, oh, the best thing about this is how amazing this is, and the worst thing is that I'm not sure I'm going to have this experience again, right? And I've been so lucky to have, and what an amazing thing to be a part of. And this one has been special because this one is a big swing.
Hmm.
We're asking a lot of our audience to go on this ride with us because it is very unusual. It's weird. It's crazy. It is not. We're taking a lot of chances with this show, and it's been. But we love it, and we've been so firmly committed to the choices we've made, and I'm a very small part of this, mind you, but it has been enormously gratifying to see the extent to which people have embraced it as something wildly new and exciting, and loving it for that reason, as we do.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I gotta imagine it's just like it I can hear the enthusiasm in your voice. Um, are there other projects you're working on that you can discuss, even as I know every composer is always working on more than one project. Is there anything else you could talk about?
Unfortunately, right at the moment, there isn't anything I can make public. But to be honest, actually, right now, between now and Christmas, I'm just taking the time to talk about Pluribus and get excited about Pluribus. And I'm working on some of my own music on the side here, just to reset my brain before I get back into it next year. And of course, we will, of course, be back with more Pluribus at some point, but it's going to be a minute. So I'm sure I'll be invested in some other things in the meantime, and I look forward to sharing that when I'm able to. But unfortunately, I can't write yet.
Absolutely wonderful. Well, Dave Porter, I want to thank you again so much for taking time out of your day to speak with me. This has been delightful. I'm so excited for everybody to hear about your work on Pluribus. And yeah, again, thanks so much.
My great pleasure, Nick. Great talking to you, and I'm so glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah,
Well, let's catch up again later.
absolutely. Thanks, Ann.